Good morning, Ford Point. How's everybody doing today? Hey, welcome to the close to summertime. We're going to have a little fun this morning. Majority rules, only we have a little twist for it this morning. So if you would, go ahead and you can get logged in there. I'll give you some time to get logged in. There's only a few. You just go to ccg.buzz in your internet browser there. ccg.buzz. Get logged in. Only we're going to have a little fun with it this morning. A little twist on majority rules. All right. Hopefully everybody's getting there. ccg.buzz. I see people still intently looking at their phones. It's got some point and shoot clickers over there. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you the first one, just so I can tease what's happening this morning, how things are a little different. Let's go ahead and go to the first one. So, who is your favorite team? Go ahead and show the options there. Is it Team Android or Team iPhone? Now, here's the deal. A little different this morning. I need a volunteer from Team iPhone and a volunteer from Team Android. All right? You have to be over the age of 18. Adults only. I need some volunteers. All right, who's Team Android? Anybody? Come on. All right, E, I'm going to have to pick you. E will be my Team Android. Okay, we'll go with Jason. I need somebody from Team iPhone. Who's Team iPhone? I'm going to have to check an ID check on you guys. Team iPhone. All right, Jerry, go ahead and stand up. Jason, stand up. Here's what's going to happen. Jerry, what you have to do is you have to try to convince the audience to vote for Team Android. Okay? And then, Jason, you're going to have to, and whoever wins, whichever gets the most up there, I have some $10 gift cards to Love Handles, okay? So you have to present a case, look at everybody, present a case for Team Android.
Okay, Android, here we go. Oh boy, it's been so long since I've had an Android. All right, so back before I used to have an iPhone, I used to love Android because there's many things that you could do with an Android. And it's the bill and everything, the phones, yes, it was a little bit cheaper. I'm sure that with Androids, everything is now updated compared to what they were back in the past. So, I'm not really selling it, but that's what I got.
All right, there's the Team Android argument. All right, you gotta try to convince people to vote for Team iPhone here, Jason.
Yeah, this is impossible. I could really even use my wife's iPhone. I know that iPhone to iPhone, you guys can play special games together, but you can't play them with Android and iPhones together. So if you're an iPhone lover, only iPhone players can play special games together.
All right, that's your argument. All right, let's see. Go ahead. You guys can vote. We'll open up the voting here. We'll see who gets their $10 gift card to Love Handles. Let's see. Now, if Team iPhone wins, it's not because Jason did a good job arguing for it. It's just because iPhone is superior. Just saying. And the answers... look at that. Just as I suspected. There you go. Don't spend it all at one time. All right. Now that you guys got the idea. All right, next one. I need... Oh, let's see. Oh, the Jets drive. That's crazy. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's go to... Don't worry, I got you. I got you covered there, Jets drive. You'll be coming up here shortly. Do you prefer it being hot or do you prefer it being cold? All right. I need a volunteer who prefers it to be hot over the age of 18. Who's somebody who prefers it to be hot and who's somebody who prefers it to be cold? Don't be shy. All right, we got one for cold. I need a volunteer who prefers it to be hot. You got it? All right, you got to make a case. You're going to make a case to everybody on why they should vote for why cold is the best. You got to tell everybody. All right, we'll move on to someone else. Here we go. All right, go ahead, stand up. You got to convince everybody why, because you prefer it to be hot, right? Why is it best to be cold?
Pumpkin soup, hay rides, sweaters, comforters, snuggling with your family for a movie. None of those things you could do when it's hot.
True. All right. Way to take that one on the chin. She didn't even flinch. All right, Mr. Lefevre, tell everybody why it's best to be cold.
You're not hot, and it's why it's best to be cold. Blankets, light blankets.
I wasn't sure if I should take that personal or not. You're not hot. All right, vote. Let's let the voting begin. Let's see who's going to get their $10 gift card. Is it going to be cold or is it going to be hot? If we have to give special points for the best argument, that one goes to hot. Hot wins. You gave the hot argument, right? No, you did cold. You're hot. All right. Here we go. All right, last. No, we got another one. All right, I need a volunteer for somebody who likes the Bills and somebody who likes the Jets. I wonder who's going to be my Jets volunteer. Who's my Bills volunteer? It's going to have to be Troy. All right. Joe Russell, you have to share. You have to convince everybody why it's best to vote for the Bills.
Okay, that's an easy one. 4 straight AFC trips to the Super Bowl. They've won the division a number of times over the past few years. And red, which is my wife's favorite color.
Wow, I actually saw the sweat beads falling off of his head as he was saying that. Well done there, Joe. All right, this might be the hardest one yet. Why should everybody vote for the Jets?
They shouldn't. Oh, no, sorry. The green is a great color. Aaron Rodgers is a nice guy, even though he's not playing for them anymore. They have won the Super Bowl a long time ago, and they're due after the Bills win. So green, it's all about green. If you love green, they're a great team.
All right, who gave the best argument? Let's see, who's your team? Is it going to be the Bills or the Jets? Release the voting. All right, who's going to get the gift card here? Oh, Joe Russell with the gift card. Well done. All right, we got one last one after we check to see the results here. All that matters is... All right, let's see. Next one. Best political party. I'm just kidding. We're not going there. All right, go ahead, guys.
And a hush ran over the crowd.
Yes. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sonia, and I am joined by E. Together, we are part of the welcome team here at Forward Point, and we just want to welcome you in to our community of faith, hope, and love, helping people find their... Because we believe you were created on... for a... And we want to be part of that story any way we can.
And I just want to remind Troy and Joe that you are in church, technically, even though it's a palace, and both of you, I know, did not believe anything you both said.
I mean, he does run like a green store. Let's
True,
think it that
true.
way. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
He's not lying.
Cheap luck, like it.
Uh-huh.
If you're new here to Forward Point, we want to give you a special thank you and welcome here to Forward Point for our Sunday morning gathering. We're so glad that you're here. We're excited that you're here. And we hope at some point before you came in and sat down that you were able to get your free gift of banana bread. If you haven't, no worries. At some point before you leave today, right outside these doors, there's a welcome table. There's lovely people there that are willing to give you a package as a show of appreciation. Over the next 75 minutes, we just want you to feel comfortable. There's really no right way or wrong way to participate. We're just so thankful that you're here.
Absolutely. And if you haven't joined us on social media already, we do encourage you to do that. We are on all platforms to get connected with us. So please check in, share a photo that you're here, invite a friend or a family. You never know when that can change somebody else's story. To also stay connected, we encourage you to download the Church Center app, which you can find our calendar of events, all of that good stuff. And lastly, we forgot to say, if you are newer here, don't forget to text that word welcome to 315-883-2213. Another good way to get plugged in here.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if anybody's realized it, but we do have Food Truck Fridays. So if you haven't gone out and enjoyed any of those food trucks, I highly recommend that you do so. I've gone to the Wolf's Patio, the oven brick pizza was phenomenal. And then this past Friday, we did the Biblio Street Grill, and I had a gyro. I'm going to say that right. I don't want to get in trouble. And it was phenomenal. I had the baklava, which is, if anyone doesn't know, it's pastry with some honey and some pecans. It's actually phenomenal. I haven't had baklava in a while, so I really, really enjoyed it. And this Friday, we have a Vietnamese food truck.
Ooh.
So yeah. So if anybody's had Vietnamese food, I'm pretty sure if you've had anything, you've had pho. And pho is phenomenal. And I always
what?
phenomenal.
Oh, you're funny.
For real?
Sorry, it took me a second. I ruined that. Anyways, not quite awake this morning. So yes, we are excited about our food trucks. Also, if you've been to one of our anniversaries, give me a shout. Right, we have that coming up to kick off our Party in the Wood. Thursday, July 3rd, we are going to do our customer appreciation evening to kick off the series of Party in the Wood, 6 to 8. We still need some volunteers for that. So please text the word party to 315-883-2213 if that is something you're interested in. We are very excited to be celebrating 3 years at Love Handles.
Absolutely. And Forward Point, we got to show out for those Party in the Wood
Yes.
parties. So it's a party. Can't be a party without people. So be there, have fun, enjoy company, enjoy food, enjoy just good old time.
Absolutely. And if you're a kiddo this morning, you can go join them in the back. They are ready to bring you upstairs. And we're going to continue with our gathering. Thank you.
Well, good morning, Ford Point. This last week was the start of summer for the Doyle household. I know for some of you, if you have kids, there's a good chance they are not done with school until this next week coming up, but we started summer this last week because their last day of school was a week ago this last Friday. And one of the things I enjoy, because there are some things I don't enjoy, but one of the things I do enjoy about the kids being home is I was walking upstairs and heard all the kids during quiet time in one room playing together, and there was no crying, there was no need to call an ambulance, there was no crashes, right? It's one of those moments where I pause for a second because I heard some noise, and I thought, oh my gosh, who's dying in there? But it turned out to be that they were just playing together and that they were loving each other's presence, right? And as a parent, it's one of those things that brings you great joy to hear your kids interacting, having a good time together, and really sensing a love amongst their siblings. Because if you remember when you were a kid, more often than not, your life was probably defined, if you had siblings, about trying to outdo the other one or beat up the other one or protect yourself from being beaten up. And as a parent, my heart's desire more than anything is that they would just grow up and love each other and be their best friends for each other into adulthood. And it was just an awesome, awesome sound to hear. Now, one of the things that happens when there's no school for the kids is we tend to have movie nights any day of the week. Instead of maybe just on the weekends, it can be during the week and the kids enjoy watching a movie together. But this one particular night, Mom and Dad weren't really down for watching a movie. We hadn't got a chance to watch our news yet. And so we said, you guys go ahead and watch a movie. So they went into the other room. And about a minute later, one of the kids comes back and says, we cannot decide on a movie to watch. They want to watch this, one movie, and I want to watch this movie. And can you just tell them to watch the movie that I want to watch, right? I'm sure you've heard that conversation before. And sometimes as a parent, it's your job to kind of swoop in and tell them what they should do and how they should do it and, what they should watch. And other times as a parent, you're just grateful that they're not dead. And you're like, as long as you guys aren't killing each other, figure it out, right? So that was kind of the advice that we gave. We said, all right, you are, a big girl. You can go in there and have a conversation and you guys agree upon something. And as I'm giving this advice, I kind of start to chuckle on the inside because I know this can go one of two ways. Knowing who I'm talking to, this is Augustine. Augustine is the oldest of the house right now because Justice is away working at camp. And I know Augustine has, kind of one of two ways that she tends to operate. She can be a real gem and full of love and kindness and speak diplomatically to get to a common goal. Or she can just kind of come in and be like, I'm the oldest and I can beat all of you up, so we're going to watch my movie, right? And I'm just wondering which of my Augustines are going to show up for this conversation. So she walks away. And we're kind of not talking because we're trying to eavesdrop into what happens. And just, a minute or two later, I begin to hear the movie in the background playing of the movie that the other kids wanted to watch, right? Something had happened where she went into this conversation kind of with an open heart and a willingness to not just get her way, where now she was willing to watch whatever movie it was that they were wanting to watch, right? It was one of those things where we think about, man, how do you react when there's something that you want, and how do you achieve it? How do you go after it? Or maybe what happens when you don't get what you want? How do you react to that? How do you respond to that? Well, we're getting close to the end of the Beatitudes that we've been looking through over the last series of weeks, found in Matthew chapter 5, where Jesus has kind of got this hook in his message, the great Sermon on the Mount, and he's kind of throwing out these little tidbits to life, these kind of secrets to success. Hey, you want to be happy, then do these things. And at first glance, who doesn't want to be happy? But once we start to dive in, we begin to realize that Jesus' definition of happiness and our definition of happiness are slightly different. Surprise, surprise. So as we dive into these things that Jesus has been telling us to do, we realize, man, that's not by nature how I would want to act or what I would want to do. But Jesus' promise is, if you do these things, if you live this way, then you're going to find yourself happy. And he's been redefining for us what actual happiness looks like, what it means to be happy. So we're going to continue on with that conversation this morning as we dive into this next beatitude. Just a quick reminder, if there is some kind of question that you'd like to ask as a part of what we're talking about this morning, the information will be on the slides. Here it is real big. And grateful for the questions that have come up thus far, and hopefully we have some time to dive into there. So here is the beatitude for this morning. You can follow along in the YouVersion app, or if you have your Bible, or on the screen. Matthew 5:9, it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." Now, surprise, surprise, the intro has not changed. Jesus has got a good thing going for himself, and he's sticking to it throughout the series of Beatitudes. He says, here, do you want to be happy? That's what he's saying here. This is what this word means, happiness, that he's redefining for us, right? Happiness is found through peacemaking. So, blessed are the peacemakers. And here's where it really starts to kind of rub us the wrong way. It's not pacemakers, okay? Blessed are the pacemakers, although they may keep some of us alive. He says, blessed are the peacemakers. And to really understand what Jesus is challenging us to do here is we got to dive into what is the definition of peace, right? Put simply, if you Google it, peace is a state or period in which there is no war or a war has ended. Basically, it's a point where someone gets to say, hey, we win, or they win, or there's something that's happened where there's no more fighting is the definition you get when you look it up through Google. The Jewish people are very famous for always starting their conversations when they meet somebody and when they're leaving by using this word shalom. Maybe you've heard it before. And shalom is this Jewish word that means peace. It's used as a salutation by Jewish people at meetings or in parting, meaning peace. So this idea of peace is very important to the Jewish people. It's a word that they would have used regularly, probably hundreds of times a day if they're interacting with other people. Maybe the only word that they would use in a group setting, when just going from person to person and saying shalom and wishing peace on them. But the reality is when they're saying this to their people that they're interacting with, they're not just hoping for them that there would be the absence of war, that there would be no fighting in their life. Peace is so much bigger than what we've kind of come to know it to be. It's so much more than just the absence of some kind of battle or some kind of fighting. There's actually a whole nother component to it. And we begin to see this when we look into other parts of the scripture where this word is used. One of the main ones that's pretty famous is in Psalms. David says, pray for Jerusalem's peace. Now this is kind of interesting because the word Jerusalem, you have Jeru and then Salam. Salam is actually it comes from that root word shalom. Jerusalem is the city of peace. So David is saying, would you pray for peace in the city of peace, right? It's almost kind of redundant. It's kind of like a prayer we might say today. Would you pray for the Christians to act like Christ, right? Like the words in the name, you think it would go without saying, but David says, man, we're supposed to be the city of peace, but there's not peace here. Would you pray for the peace of the city of peace? And when you do, would you pray for the prosperity to all you Jerusalem lovers? Like it goes beyond just the absence of war, actually. And what the Jewish people would have associated with this is that there is this idea when you are prospering is a symbol of God's presence being there. When you look at the Old Testament, you see this constant cycle of how they reacted. They were in relationship with God, obeying his commands, so it brought this prosperity. But the prosperity generally lulled them into a state of sin where they just kind of began to do their own thing and forget about God. So then God would bring in some kind of judgment or famine to kind of get them to refocus their life. And once they get back to repentance and into relationship with God, then the prosperity would come back. And it was just the cycle you saw over and over and over again in the Old Testament. Maybe even sometimes you see it in your own life. But what's important to realize is that peace is not just the absence of war. Peace is actually also the presence of God, prosperity. It's a twofer. In how Jesus would have used this word, way beyond just you and your sibling not fighting anymore. Way beyond just two countries not fighting anymore. Right? It's kind of interesting that we would be at this beatitude talking about peace when right now in another part of the world there are two countries, one being Israel, that are actually at war with each other. So to pray for peace in Israel, it's not just to pray for there to stop being war. To pray for peace in even Iran is not just to pray for the bombing to stop or for there to stop being battles going on. To pray for peace, to be a peacemaker, is to go one step further and to say, how can God's presence fill the void that this war, that this battle, that this fighting has left? That's actually what we're called to as peacemakers, is to somehow step out of our own desires, our own feelings, our own favorite flavors, and to step into these areas where there's now a void. Maybe the battle has stopped, the war has stopped, and to be people who bring the presence of God into those situations. To bring the presence of God into and with those people who maybe don't think or agree the way that we do. Paul challenges this way in Philippians. He says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And here's the key. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus, right? There's that key word, the peace of God. Not just the absence of all these crazy feelings, maybe the worry, the fear, the anxiety, right? Peace is not just the absence of those things, but also the presence of God, and it transcends all understanding. Like, we've all probably known people who've gone through some pretty crazy circumstances, and they just seem to be able to kind of cruise right through with this supernatural peace. And we think, man, all this stuff is going on in their life, all the things that they're going through, how in the world can they act this way? And it's because the peace of God is on their life. I love the way Eugene Peterson translates it in the Message. He says, don't fret or worry, right? Yeah, good luck with that. Instead of worrying, he says to pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers, letting God know your concerns. Because before you know it, a sense of God's wholeness. And that's really the idea that I would love for you to come away with this morning, is that peace is not just the absence of war, but it's also a sense of God's wholeness. To be an actual peacemaker, to actually be someone who's making peace, it's not just to stand between two people who are fighting and get them to stop fighting. Like that's a good thing. I'm glad you're able to do that. Hopefully you didn't get beat up in the process. But to be the kind of peacemaker that Jesus is talking about in this beatitude is you have to take it a step further by bringing a sense of God's wholeness into that situation. That's what it means to be when he says, blessed are the peacemakers. Now, it would be easy to think in our culture, it's kind of gotten to a place where we think of being a peacemaker as being a pushover. You know, someone who just kind of capitulates to somebody else's desires or wants, and that's not what Jesus is setting us up for either. We're not called to just be people who get pushed over. Like, it's okay to have things that you believe in. But it's in those beliefs and how you represent God and bringing in a sense of God's wholeness that determines whether or not you are a peacemaker. It's also not political. There's some of us that are very good with our words, and we could come into a situation and we could kind of spin it and use all sorts of phrases to begin to bring a sense of unity amongst people. But that by itself is not being a peacemaker. Because being a peacemaker is taking it to that next step where we're bringing in a sense of God's wholeness. A lot of times, we all know it, I'm tired of hearing politicians get up and give speeches. Because it's always going to be where they look at the facts and they spin it or they explain it to us in a way that suits their purpose and their agenda just so that they can get what they want. And that's not being a peacemaker. Because to bring a sense of wholeness, right, to be able to not just stop the fighting, stop the war, but to bring in a sense of God's wholeness is you have to step away from your side and you have to step towards the other side. That was a big part of why we did the little switch in majority rules this morning, right? What does it look like as a Jets fan to be able to get up amongst a bunch of people who all know that they're a Jets fan, but to take on the cause and the purpose of the Bills? There was some shaking, there was some sweat involved, seizure I think I saw. But that's what it requires, is a stepping away from his commitment to being a Jets fan, his commitment to the green, to begin to think about what are the good things about the Bills? What are the things do I appreciate about the Bills? And what a peacemaker does in order to bring God's wholeness is they step away from their own identity, their own what they think is right, and they step towards the other person. They step towards the other person by seeking to understand, by asking questions about it. Tell me about how you came to this place. Because a lot of times the way that we act is we say all sorts of things only to reinforce our own standing, our own preferences. And here's the key 4 point. Anything that you do that just reinforces your side undermines peacemaking. If you're out there and you're posting or you're talking about all sorts of points and bullets about why your position is right and correct, then this morning I'm here to tell you, you do not fall under the peacemaking category. Because the peacemaker is someone who steps into those situations by stepping away from their own beliefs, their own convictions, and steps towards the other person. Now, it's not this idea of giving them up. We're not going to compromise. But you can step towards another person's beliefs and ideas without compromising your own. In fact, Paul says in the New Testament, it's pretty famous, he says, that you're called to be, it was Jesus in his prayer before he goes to the cross. He says, man, I pray that you would send the disciples to be in the world, but not of the world. Right? Like Jesus' prayer for us was that we would go and be around people who aren't like us, who don't think like we do, have relationship with them, not be like them, not act and do the things that they do, but we got to be in the world with them. If we're going to influence them, if we're going to bring peace in these different areas, you have got to be around people who don't think like you. You've got to be around people who don't act like you. You've got to be around people who don't believe like you. And if Jesus says, if you want to be happy, then it's going to be through peacemaking. It's going to be through this process of stepping away from your own ideologies, your own convictions, not giving them up. But you're going to step away from them, and you're going to step towards people who have different worldviews and different convictions. And you're going to look to bring the wholeness of God into that situation. And here's the wholeness of God is not people coming to your viewpoint. There's a whole lot of people who, in the name of Christianity, will go out there and say, you need to stop doing a certain thing, you need to do what I'm doing. And they consider themselves justified in the way that they do that, when in reality it doesn't reflect the way that Jesus lived here on the earth. And it definitely does not look like what a peacemaker looks like and what he's called us to do. Because remember, this is more than just being warm and fuzzy happy. He says, blessed are the peacemakers, because they will be called children of God. This is not just a cute little title. This is just not like a little, maybe Cub Scout badge that you get once you accomplish something and you're trying to see how many you can fit on your sash. The Son of God phrase was a phrase used over and over to describe Jesus. If you read through the New Testament and through the Gospels, you're constantly going to hear Jesus being described as the Son of God, which is a pretty awesome title, in my opinion. And Jesus says, if you choose to live this way, here's what I'm going to let you borrow. I'm going to let you in on that title. People are going to look at you the same way that they looked at me. They called me the Son of God. If you choose to be a peacemaker, if you choose to step away for a second from your ideologies, your convictions, the things that you're willing to fight for, and you step away and towards people with difference, people with opposites, people with things that, man, that frustrate you and you can't stand, But if you choose to step away from those things, yours, and step towards them, then people are going to look at you, and just like they did for me, they're going to call you a son or a daughter of God. Like, you can't be described in closer relationship with God than as a son or a daughter of God. Right? When's the last time someone that you work with or a family member came up to you and said, man, you are a daughter of God? More often than not, I would imagine in our culture today, there's a whole lot of people who like get away from Christians. They don't even want to talk to Christians, let alone, man, you are acting like a son of God today. I know a lot of people acting like sons and daughters of the devil. But Jesus says, when you live this way, not only are you going to find yourself happy, blessed, he says, the way people look at you is going to change. Like, people are going to actually confuse you as an actual son or daughter of God. And I can think of, Forward Point, man, no greater compliment. And that's why what we do through things like love handles and a lot of the different things that we do, man, we give all sorts of money towards these things so that we could just step a little bit closer towards the lives of the people here in Eastwood. Eastwood, as a general rule, at least as far as the people who get heard the most, very, very anti-Christianity. For whatever reason, for whatever they've experienced, whatever they've gone through, probably a lot of people refusing to be a peacemaker. So now they have their hurts, their wounds, whatever, and they're very anti-Christianity. So we said, you know what, Forward Point, we're going to be here for the people who are unchurched, the de-churched, people who have been burned and hurt, and we're going to choose to do that by constantly stepping away from our convictions. You got to do things this way. You got to act this certain way. You got to walk through these certain motions. And what we're going to do is we're going to build bridges with people, and we're going to begin to say, hey, tell me about your story. Tell me why you came to a place where you believe that. Help me understand. I would love to know. And we're going to work hard, and we're going to sacrifice, and we're going to do all sorts of things, not for the right to be heard, but just to hear. That we might earn the opportunity to hear their story, to hear what's going on in their worlds. Because that's what a peacemaker does. A peacemaker just doesn't avoid conflict, just doesn't seek for the war and the fighting to stop. The peacemaker also requires the wholeness of God to come into that situation. And that happens when we step away from our side and we step towards their side. One of the most powerful examples of this, I think, is at the cross when Jesus is there and, the earth starts shaking and all sorts of things happen. And the centurion says, truly, this was the Son of God. Truly, this is the Son of God. Right, here's somebody who probably has all sorts of history in paganism and multiple gods and all sorts of things that go against everything that means to be a Christian. This is probably somebody who is not showing up to the temple on Sabbath. This is probably not somebody who the religious leaders in Jesus' day is hanging around with. But this is somebody who's been watching Jesus from a distance. And now is here at this cross and sees him up there, sees him fighting for every breath. Hears his words, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And he makes this bold claim, surely this was the Son of God. And I wonder, Forward Point, what would it take for you and what would it take for me to live in such a way that, man, hopefully it's not on a cross, but maybe, or something similar, that neighbor or that coworker would say, man, surely this was a son of God. This is a son of God. This is a daughter of God. Not because of how many notches you have in your belt, because of people you led through the sinner's prayer. Not because of however many protests that you went to and how many different ways you suffered for Jesus, but because you were a peacemaker. In the absence of fighting and warring and one side hating the other side, you came in and you brought wholeness, God's wholeness. And now as a result, you're going to be called children of God. Eugene Peterson translates this beatitude this way. He says, you're blessed when you can show people how to cooperate instead of compete or fight. That's when you discover who you really are and your place in God's family. And this morning I wonder, 4 point, how many of us contribute to that fighting? But Jimmy, you don't understand, I'm right. Jimmy, you don't understand, what I say is truth. But Jimmy, you don't understand, like they need to hear this. And I get that that's your argument, but 4 points, that's doesn't have any muster when it comes to what Jesus and how he's calling us to live. Because in challenging us to be peacemakers, he says you need to step away from your rightness, your correct thinkingness. You need to lay that aside. And you need to take some steps towards the very people that you think you're right over. The very people that you think you have better theology over, correct theology over. It's not your correctness that's going to get you into relationship with Jesus and into heaven for eternity. It has nothing. We weren't called to go into all the world and be correct and be right and to prove our debating skills. But he does challenge us to be peacemakers. And if just being a peacemaker, because this is what Jesus asked us to do, isn't enough, he also says if you live this way, you are going to be happy. And I wonder about how much more our lives could be happy if we all chose to be peacemakers in this world. This last week, Chasler and I had the opportunity to go to court to go to a permanence hearing for Ishmael, our foster son. And it's a little frustrating. We're in this situation, and the dad is choosing to represent himself, and it just is kind of, you can sense this feeling of like frustration amongst all the different parties, the judge and the lawyers, because he doesn't really know what he's doing, and they want him to have every chance that he get, right? Because we believe in due process. But as I'm sitting there and I'm frustrated with the fact that we have due process, because in the end I know what's best. I know what would be better for Ishmael. The fact is, we have due process, and we live in a country where he gets and deserves his opportunity. And as I'm processing and wrestling with these feelings, I look up on the wall behind the judge, and there's the symbol for justice, right? And Lady Justice, there's a very interesting thing about her, is that she's blind. She wears this cloth around her eyes so she can't see, because justice has got to be impartial. For justice to really be present, it's got to be impartial to what it sees. And I think to myself, man, we as Christians have gotten so far. We've gotten so caught up in being right that we've lost our ability to speak into people's lives because we're no longer impartial. Again, it's not that I'm saying we give up what we know is truth, what we know is right. But we don't have to be mean about it. We don't have to be ugly about it. And in 2025, more often than not, at least as far as what the world sees, is we are ugly about it. And man, one of the things that I know about people who are blind is though they've lost one sense, those other senses, they come alive. The ability to smell and the ability to hear. Right, that's how we got the Daredevil, right? Daredevil can't see, so now he's all like, can hear anything and people's heartbeats and know how many bad guys are there. Because he taps into and uses these other senses. And for so long, man, we've just been using the sense of we are right. And as long as we're right and going to heaven, it doesn't really matter who we roll over along the way. And this morning is an opportunity to dive into peacemaking. Before we close here, we have a question I just want to try to hit here maybe. Rephrase of last week's question: how do you explain to someone that they need a Savior who doesn't do anything that they need to be saved from? What does being a peacemaker look like in that situation? After this morning, I hope that you come away from the conversation realizing that the goal is not to save people. Did he just say what I think he said? If the goal for us becomes just to save people, then we think that the ends justify the means and we go about it in any which way that we desire. If the goal becomes relationship with people, Jesus came so that we can have relationship with God. Well, what are you doing so that you can have relationship with people? If your goal is just to get people to recognize that what they're doing is sin, then your goal is to save people. And while I appreciate your hearts, I don't believe that that's the best strategy. I believe the best strategy is, as we've seen throughout the Beatitudes, and we come to today, is to be a peacemaker and to step away from everything that you think or you know to be a sin, that you know to be wrong in the eyes of God. To step away from that for a second, not to abandon, not to give it up, but step towards this person and build a relationship with him and begin to ask and talk about it. Not condemn them, not to call them out, but as you build relationship with them and they begin to see you and say, man, truly this is a son of God. What do I have to do to have a relationship with God? Even before they give up whatever sin it is that you see in their life, they can have a relationship with Jesus. And after they've chosen to fall in love with Jesus and be captivated, then you can share with them the Bible and say, this is what Jesus has called us to do as followers of him. You see, we like to take things that are in the Bible and kind of use them as a weapon towards people who are not Christians. The Bible was written for Christians. Each book of the New Testament was written for a church and how they should believe. But we're trying to take people who don't have a relationship with Jesus and say, you need to follow these things that were written for Christians. They're never going to get there until they realize, man, there is somebody who loves me and is willing to lay down their own wants, lay down their own desires, step away from their own ideologies and take the step towards me. Then, to me, that is going to bring them closer to God than any way that you can help them realize their sin. Is there one more? Do you feel stuck where you are? Do you want to grow? There are ways, people, relationship that can support you. I agree. God, we're so grateful that you were the original peacemaker. We're so grateful that you stepped away from your position, stepped away from your throne, from your closeness to God, and you stepped towards us. And you said, man, the price that I'm willing to pay is right up to my life to bring peace. To make an opportunity for them to have peace that passes all understanding, to make it possible for them to submit their prayers and their requests before God. And that more than anything else, that there would be a peace that passes all understanding. So God, this morning we're praying that first, maybe for some of us, you need to do a work inside of us so we recognize that maybe we are not peacemakers. Maybe we're actually part of the problem this morning. Where in our lives do we need to lay down our worldview and our ideology, anything that is subverting being a peacemaker in our worlds? Would you just begin to speak to us, God, even now, just where those points are in our life? And God, would you help us to take up the calling of being a peacemaker? If you're here this morning for the first time, you've heard about a Jesus who cares about you more than your actions and the things you do, because up till now it's just been about your actions and the things you do, then this morning a new relationship with Jesus can begin. He does care about the things that you do. He does believe you were designed on purpose for a purpose, and that life is best when lived according to his design. But before you look perfect and have it all together, Jesus first and foremost cares about you this morning. And maybe up to this moment it's just been about your behavior and people looking at you and the things that you do, and all they've seen are those things. And you're here frustrated with God as a result of other people's misrepresentation. This morning, there's an opportunity to begin a new relationship with him and to join and be a part of this peacemaking mission that we're going to be on here in Eastwood and in Syracuse, and through frozen yogurt and through block parties. And God, would your Holy Spirit just continue to work in our hearts this morning as we respond to you through these words. Would you just continue to speak to our hearts?
I just wanted to take a minute. This morning, I was getting ready for the day, and it's just amazing to me when God nudges you and puts something on your heart. I never know what Jimmy is going to talk about on Sunday, and it is, I know Steve has mentioned before, sometimes our worship songs line up amazingly, and we don't even, it'd be nice if we planned it out, but we really don't. And it's just kind of neat how that works out. And this morning, I was listening to worship, and I was just thinking about fear and thinking about the things that prevent me from having peace. And I know in my life, fear has been something that has held me back. And I remembered this poem that I wrote. It was like, I felt like God nudged me to share it, and that maybe someone here could identify to the feeling involved with fear. And it felt appropriate, so. Fear is a knife slicing through openness, blind to others' pain, and a diversion of focus. Suffering of thought becomes our cage, no time or space to rearrange our thinking. Fear absorbs every corner of our heart, keeping us boxed in and torn apart. We reach for things, we hide the fear, we close our eyes, we shut our ears, and inward we turn, hoping something we reach for soothes the burn and fills the empty space, and fear is born. So maybe during worship, we can just take a minute and lay our fear down today and not be boxed in, not allow it to keep us from sharing. I mean, even this is so vulnerable for me, and make attempts to get over our fears, to push through. And
unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. love is devoted, like a ring of solid gold, like a vow that is tested, like a covenant of old. Your love is enduring through the winter rain and beyond the horizon, with mercy for today. Faithful you have been, and faithful you will be. You pledge yourself to me, and it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. You father the orphan. You father the orphan. Your kindness makes us whole. You shoulder our weakness, and your strength becomes our own. You're making me like you, clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes. For you will have your bride, free of all her guilt and rid of all her shame, and known by her true name. And it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips.
You will be praised.
You will be praised. You will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised. You will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy
You will be
are
praised.
you, Lord. You will be praised. You will be praised. Angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised. You will be praised. With angels and saints we sing, worthy are you, Lord. And it's why I sing. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. Ooh, I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.
Sing it out, church.
I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. these pieces broken and scattered, mercy gathered, mended and whole, empty-handed but not forsaken. I've been set free, I've been set free. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see you now. I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. You take a failure, you take a weakness, you set your treasure in jars of clay. So take this heart, Lord, I'll be your vessel, the well to see your life in me. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Sing it again. Amazing grace, amazing grace, how sweet the sound see you now. I could see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life.
Spirit was moving over the water. Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me.
Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates and heaven on in. Come rest on us, come rest on us. Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates and heaven on in. Come rest on us, come rest on us. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want.
Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want.
Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me. Come down,
Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know. Calm down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here one more time. Calm down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me.
I'm so thankful when we just get to praise God all together. And we know he's here always, but sometimes it feels just a little extra special. Today was a rough morning, so I'm just so glad we get to leave filled up and energized.
Absolutely. We're all about connection here at Ford Point. I don't know if you've gotten the message here. If you've been here once, you've been here 4 or 5 times. That's the one thing that we kind of want to do. That's our mission statement. So if you haven't connected with us yet, we offer many different ways that you can do that. We have a prayer corner where we have prayer partners that can literally take your hand by the hand and connect with you and pray with you. We have a digital connection card. We have the Church Center app. We have many different ways that we can do that. We have a welcome center that's right outside. So if you have any questions, if you want to talk to anybody, we have wonderful people out there who will talk to you. So please, if you really want that connection and you're longing for that connection, don't leave here without having that connection with us.
Absolutely. And if this is where you have decided to give and make a commitment to, and you know what we're doing or you don't know what we're doing, we're in the midst of building a new home for us that we get to call home, and we need help. We need a commitment, maybe not financially. That does help a lot, but if it is on your hearts today to give, there are many ways you can do that. There is a joy box in the back. Because giving is such a joy, there are 4 ways to do, 3 ways online. You can on the Church Center app, on our website, or text any amount to 84321. And I don't know if the meters moved today, but if you don't know where we're at 16%. So we have a little way to go to get there, but we know with everyone's help we will get there.
Absolutely, and we thank all those that have given and continue to give. We really appreciate it, and I think it did go up 1%.
Oh, yes, I think that's, yeah.
Last week it was 15%.
Yes. So we thank you for that in advance. And again, connection. Throughout the summer, we know life groups are ending. Let's turn Friday night into a multi-life group, right? Oh, yeah. There's food and fun. Join us down at Love Handles Even Better. Thursday, another opportunity to all get together starting July 3rd. We really encourage that. And if you want to get involved, don't know how, the Eastwood Party is a good way. So text the word party to that 315-883-2213 number.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, we do have a prayer corner. We have prayer partners. So if you have something burning on your heart that you really want prayer for, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for your family, whether it's for someone you know, definitely touch base with them before you leave. They're just right back here.
And lastly, you can pick your children up upstairs right after we're done and now. And we thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you.
When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will feel me come down. Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you feel the